We usually think of our dust collectors as sucking, but they don't call that spinny part inside a sucker. They call it a blower. I don't really know who they are, but in this case, they are right. The motor spins the impeller, which pushes air into your filters, and that air has to come from somewhere, so it pulls it from your woodworking machines. The more air your blower pushes into your filters, the better your suction at the machine. So, of all the parts of the dust collection system, the ducts, the hoses, the blast gates, the machine hookups, all of them are pointless if you don't have peak airflow. Now you might remember we did a series of videos a while back that talked about impellers and motors and what size you needed to generate the most airflow for your system. But the fact is, you can have the biggest blower on earth and it won't matter if there's nowhere for that air to go. You see, the bottleneck in most dust collectors is the filter. It can only allow so much air to pass through it. And the less air going out through your filter, the less air that's coming in from your machine hookups. Filters come with different ratings. Some are rated in microns, some have a MERV number, some don't have anything on them at all. It's very confusing. But here's what you need to know. The bag style filters are junk. They're catching chips, but they're letting all the fine dust out. Older bags can let stuff as big as 30 microns escape. And in the last 5 years or so, some dust collectors have changed over to 5-micron filter bags, but that's still not enough. OSHA requires commercial shops to filter out anything larger than a 0.5 micron. So a bag filter turns that expensive dust collector actually into a giant dust pump that takes the fine dust from your machines and blows it into the air throughout the shop. Efficient if you want to breathe it in, not so much if you want to stay healthy. I know, you're probably one of those people that says you can just stick your face into the dustbin and snort all you want. If you're one of those guys who doesn't mind the risk of developing dust allergies, respiratory infections, cancer, go ahead and roll those dice. I'm not a doctor, but I do pretend to be one from time to time. And I'd rather be safe now than sorry 25 years from now. I don't expect that dust is going to give me cancer, but I do know of people who have developed a serious wood allergy because of their overexposure to dust that has forced them to give up the craft they love, and that would be a shame. But letting too much dust out isn't the only reason that filter bags suck. The biggest reason is they don't actually suck at all. You see what I did there? Suck. They might look big, but they only have about 35 square feet of filter surface. Even a moderately powered dust collector like the single-stage units from Harbor Freight or Jet or Grizzly, they are capable of moving 2 to 3 times as much air as their bag filters can handle. Your bag is killing your suction. So why do they put them on there? Well, because they're cheap. Good air filters are pricey. If Harbor Freight added a $150 filter on top of their $200 dust collector, a lot of woodworkers would just be priced out of the market. I admit to being one of those woodworkers. I bought my first dust collector from Harbor Freight with a coupon for $120, and that was pretty much all I was willing to invest at the time. But after a while, when my bank account recovered and I realized that my collector could be collecting a lot more dust at the machine and spitting a lot less of it into the air for me to breathe, I started thinking about upgrading the bag filter to a cartridge. This is a cartridge filter for a single-stage dust collector, like your Harbor Freight, Jet, Grizzly, those kind of collectors. It's a nano filter, which means it has a MERV 15 rating. It collects virtually 100% of anything larger than a 0.5 micron. That's 1,000% finer filtration than even the newer 5-micron filter bags. And since it's pleated, it has about 275 square feet of surface area, almost 8 times as much as a bag filter. This one goes on top of the dust collector at the Mustache Mike shop, which is kind of a Harbor Freight Jet hybrid. But here at the Stumpy Nubs workshop, we use a Cyclone, which is a much bigger system, and that means it needs much more filters. Here we use a stack of 3 filters. These are MERV 15 with a surface area of 300 square feet each for the top 2 filters. A powerful cyclone like the Clearview requires 2 of them, but some of the smaller cyclones that are on the market could use just 1. So, would a filter upgrade make a difference in your dust collector? Absolutely. If you have a bag filter, upgrading to the right cartridge will not only dramatically improve the quality of the air coming out of your system, it will also give you a big boost in suction. You're really going to be surprised. If you already have a cartridge style filter like this, you may still want to consider an upgrade, because now they make nano filters, which are significantly better than the older ones. They can increase your fine dust filtration and your airflow. And since there's no such thing as enough airflow, there's one more upgrade you can make if you have one of the Cyclone setups. It's this little filter here on the bottom. This replaces the cleanout box that you normally have to buy or build to put on the bottom of your filter stack. It just clips onto the bottom with these clips that are sold separately, and the pan catches all the fine dust that accumulates at the bottom over time. But the best part is, it adds another 30 square feet of MERV 15 filtration. That's about the same amount as an entire filter bag right in that teeny little cartridge pan. The point is, you want your filters to allow as much air to come out of your blower as possible. So the more surface area, the better. Using the proper filters and keeping them clean is critical to getting all the suction you can out of your dust collection unit. You invested a lot of money in it. You may as well get the most out of it. We're putting together a new dust collection section over at StumpyNubs.com with more great tips, tricks, and information on the way. In the meantime, check out all the other woodworking goodness we have over there. And you'll notice on the home page that you can now get Stumpy swag. We've opened a new t-shirt and other stuff store. So check that out too. It's a good place to sit back and have a cold one, which I don't have. But you've earned it, my friend.